So I was raised Pentecostal evangelical. And a couple of things, it's basically like, it's like a tent revival kind of church, except like no tent, just like 30-year-old carpeting and bad fluorescent lighting. A couple things to understand about what it's like growing up inside of a Pentecostal evangelical brain is, first of all, you are constantly expecting God to speak to you, almost audibly. So every intrusive thought that ever runs through your mind, the Word of God. The second thing you need to understand is that you are constantly expecting the world to come to a calamitous end at any given moment of any given day. And from a really young age, I knew all of the signs of the end times. Like, I had a pretty decent catalog of them. I didn't understand in what order they were supposed to occur, and I didn't really understand what most of them meant. I don't think anybody really does. But I had a lot of the signposts down. So like near the end of the world, at some point the sky's gonna rip open and an angel's gonna pop out and blow a trumpet. At some point there's gonna be like something like the rapture is gonna happen. At some point there's gonna be an antichrist who's gonna seem really cool, but don't fall for it. And then at some point also there's the moon will turn as red as blood. So these were all the things that I had swimming in my head growing up. Now, I'm 11 years old. I'm sitting on my back deck with my family. It's a September night, and it's a special night because my dad has brought this little TV out onto the deck, and he's rigged it up so that we can watch a movie out there. So we're watching James Cameron's film, his 1989 film, The Abyss. And so we're all watching The Abyss, and it's a beautiful night. It's like room temp outside. It's not so late in September that the crickets are all gone, so you have the cricket song kind of making that ambient noise. And I am a very nostalgic person by nature, such that even when I was a little kid, I would wax nostalgic and reminisce about moments that I was experiencing in real time. So I was kind of taking in the beauty of the night, and I looked away from the TV, and I looked out across, like off the edge of the deck, out to this property where we lived, and our house was sitting on about 100 acres of family-owned land that was deeded to my great, however many greats, grandfather, deeded to him by George Washington after the Revolutionary War. And this is up in northeastern Pennsylvania, so beautiful, hilly land. And it's about 100 acres. It was like half wooded, half of it was these beautiful rolling fields that I could see from the deck, cut through with little streams, and all of it was framing like a world-class view of this kind of mega hill that we all called Bald Mountain. And Bald Mountain was dotted with these little tableaus of farmhouses and barns all the way up the landscape. So I was just kind of taking all that in. And as I'm looking at this, like, Thomas Kincaid painting, my eyes track a little higher up to the horizon, and that is when a cold chill just races down across my entire body, and my heart rate doubles, my hands start to sweat, and my stomach kind of drops and twists in a way that it now only ever does on presidential election nights. Except it's like that presidential election night feeling, except multiplied by like 666. Because what I see in the sky hovering above Bald Mountain is a blood red moon. I repeat, the moon is as red as blood. So I look away from it, like I don't even want to look at it. And I don't say anything. My family hasn't even noticed it because they're totally engrossed in this moment of Ed Harris making first contact with alien life on the bottom of the ocean. And I just want to kind of let this moment last, at least for a few more minutes. Because I'm just sitting on this knowledge that's burning a hole in the back of my head. Because I know that the moment I announce this to my family, my dad's going to rush us all into the house. He's going to be like, we need to start praying right now. Someone's going to turn on the news and CNN's going to be on, and we're going to see that some charismatic leader has taken over the United Nations and ushered in a new era of one world government, a government where surely Pentecostal Christianity is firmly banned. So myself and everyone I care about and love is going to have to go into hiding and start underground churches. But eventually we're all going to get caught and everybody's going to get their head chopped off. And at some point I'm going to find myself in this like futuristic laser guillotine contraption where somebody's asking me if I want to receive the mark of the beast or hold on to my faith. And of course I'm going to tell them that I pledge allegiance to the Lamb with all my heart and with all I am. And right before the guillotine drops, Jesus is going to come back, rapture's going to happen, we all go to heaven, which is great, and it's always day and never night, and therefore never an opportunity to watch the second half of The Abyss on my back porch with my family. So I'm just sitting on all this knowledge, and I can't wait till the credits. So I take a breath, and I look at my dad, because he's the one I'm going to tell first. And you've probably seen this iconic photo of George W. Bush sitting in a classroom reading a picture book. And it's this fateful morning in September 2001, and there's a staffer like whispering news into his ear. I felt like that staffer. Because I'm about to deliver this piece of news that's going to radically and irreversibly change life as we know it. So I look at my dad and I clear my throat. And I'm like, Dad, the moon is red. And my dad looks back at the horizon over Bald Mountain. He looks at the blood-red moon as prophesied by the Apostle John on the Isle of Patmos about 2,000 years earlier. And my dad says, yeah, that happens about once a year. Okay. So I try to settle back into James Cameron's 1989 film, The Abyss, attempting not to vomit or cry or both. Just sort of, first of all, a little frustrated with the Apostle John for telling us that one of the signposts of the end of the world is something that happens on an annual fucking basis. But besides that feeling, I'm feeling very relieved that neither myself nor anyone I love was going to have their head chopped off anytime soon. And that is the story of my first impression of a harvest moon.